Welcome back to Both Sides of the Barricade. This week we have a very special guest, my friend Allie Wycoff. She is a freelance photographer and she lives in North Carolina, but we met through concerts. So, Allie, if you'd like to say anything about yourself before we start.
Hi, I'm Allie. I am 24 and Jordan is one of my favorite people. And I'm so excited to be on this podcast because every other episode I've heard is incredible. And yeah, I love to take pictures and I love music. And I'm really glad that Jordan asked me to do this. So, hey, girl.
Hey, Allie is so one of my favorite people. She is like one of the first people I think of when I think of people that I've met at shows or through music, and like friend wise, like she's just the best. So I'm so glad.
Yeah, we met over like 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
In like a city that neither of us live in because of music, which
Yep.
is so cool.
So let's start with that. So we met through mutual friends and social media, but our first time hanging out in person was at Lollapalooza in Chicago in 2018, which remains probably my favorite concert or favorite festival that I've ever been to. Like,
Easily,
hands
yeah.
down. um, Probably would have changed this year had festivals happened, but because they didn't, Chicago's like one of my favorite cities too. Like I just love it there. So we met there and we were originally like we always say this, but we were only supposed to like say hi and then like go about our ways like at the festival, but
Yeah,
we ended
no,
up
you couldn't get rid of us.
nope. We ended up like hanging out the entire weekend. And honestly, I'm glad because I think like I mean, I was with Ian, we were having a great time, but it was just so fun to like experience it with like a group of friends. And I knew so many people there, weirdly, like a bunch of people from New York, like when that I was friends with. It was just crazy. Like I guess the lineup that year just had like a lot of people excited because
Oh, it was
I was
so
there.
good.
It was so crazy. I felt like I knew everyone. Um, but yeah, and then after Lollapalooza, how would you say our friendship has evolved?
Like an insane amount. I've been to your dorm, your home, met your parents. You have come to my house in North Carolina. So like literally over 2 years, we've like it's been from like okay, like Jordan's like a concert buddy, like we can go hang out at shows and like whatever, but then it's like evolved into like you're literally one of my favorite people and best friends. So
Aw,
like thankful for Lala.
yeah.
And I was thinking about this earlier when you asked me to do the podcast. I just think it's so funny because um like when we did meet at Lala, like I had a horrible week. like
Oh
I
my
had
God, I
like
remember.
I'm actually shocked that you wanted to hang out with us the entire time because I was like having on and off panic attacks because there was just so much going on, but
Yeah.
like the festival itself was just so good, so I was able to like get out of it, and like you and Ian were so helpful, but I'm like I can't believe they still wanted to hang out with
Oh
me.
my God. Like you wouldn't know. Like we were having so much fun. Like it's not like you were like a bummer or anything. Like I don't even
No,
remember
I know,
being in a
it's
bad
just
mood,
funny.
honestly.
Right, but the thing was is like you didn't know me yet,
Yeah,
like, and that
that's
was
true.
why I was like, okay, these are like really good friends, like these are people that they don't know me, they're seeing me like at my worst when I'm like anxious and shaky and like really upset, and they're still like, nope, we're gonna get her out of it and we're gonna have a good time. I'm like, oh, they're gonna be my good friends, and then fast forward, here we are.
Yeah, and in a new city, like, it was my first time being there, and Ian's
Yeah.
too. I was just surprised that, like,
Mhm.
it was so, like, stress-free of a trip, like, for me at least, like, navigating the city and getting to the festival every day was, like, a piece of cake, and
It really
I was
was.
shocked.
I mean, we came from different places, obviously,
Yeah.
but, like, we, we, like, took the train in too from, like, a different place than you did. We came from opposite
Yeah.
directions, but the ease of it was so nice, like, compared to other festivals that I know you and I have been to, like Governor's Ball, for example,
Yeah.
like, that is not,
Ooh,
that is ease does not come into my, mind when I think of getting to and from that festival, but Lolla was, like, the easiest thing ever. They had multiple exits and, like, you could actually experience it without the stress of, like, where am I going? What am I doing? I don't
Mhm.
know. Like, I'm in a new place where I don't know anybody. Like,
Yeah.
where am I gonna go? But that was super nice.
Yeah. Well, and I
That
think
was
they're
so fun.
one of, like, the oldest festivals in the US, so, like, it
They know what they're
shows they
doing.
have experience, whatever, so,
Oh, for sure.
so how would you just I mean, obviously very
Mhm.
similarly, we go to a lot of shows, a lot of festivals, like, how would you describe your relationship with like, as a fan, like, with artists?
Oh boy. How do I completely describe that? Well, I feel like for different artists, it's different, like how I would describe myself like as a fan. Like
Yeah.
there are some artists where like they could be one of my favorite artists of all time, but there's no way I'm waiting all day in line for a show to go see them, you know?
Yeah.
It's like I'll be there, but
Mhm.
like the experience of being like on the barricade or like being close up wouldn't be worth it to see that kind of specific artist, like, depending but, like, you know me, and I mean, your listeners don't, so I'll tell them, but, like, I love so many different genres of music, so, like, if I'm going to, like, wait in line for a show and, like, as a fan, like, be what people would call, like, completely standing, like, it's
Mhm.
going to be a live show where I know my experience is gonna be better, so that's why, like, my relationship with, like, being a fan with different artists, it just varies so much, especially when it comes to, like, live music,
Mhm.
or even, um, like, when a lot of the artists that I enjoy listening to, like, just release music, like, there are some where I'm like, "At midnight, I absolutely have to hear this,"
Yeah.
whereas, like, there's another artist I may like more, but I'm like, "Okay, that can wait till tomorrow, though," like, I know I'll be in a better space to, like, listen or whatever.
Yeah.
So, it's very different, but, like, my favorite artists, like, it varies from, like, beautiful, like, strings piano, classic, like, very, like, laid back, low key, just, like, what I would refer to as just, like, gorgeous to, like, I wanna go, like, bang my head and throw people in a pit
Yeah.
and lose my mind. Like, there's barely any in the middles for,
Yeah.
like, my taste in music and especially of, like, going to different shows and whatnot, but, that's why, like, my relationship with as, like, being a fan with, like, artists is totally different
Yeah, and I
for
think that
for
that's
them.
something that, like, comes with, like, maturity too, like, I almost feel like because like, as I'm getting older, I kind of relate a lot more to that, where I'm like, I really don't need to be out all day waiting in line for this artist,"
Mhm.
like, I kind of reserve that for, like, the top, like, people, like, 1 to 3 artists that I, like, feel that way about, and I think
Oh,
that
yeah.
that comes with, like, getting older because in high school and, like, I mean, I'm still in college, but in my, like, earlier college years, it was definitely something that I just, like, didn't think about. I was like, "Oh, yeah, like, I'm gonna wait out all day." But, like, now it's like,
Oh, yeah.
"My back hurts, like,
Yeah.
my feet hurt." Like, I don't wanna be doing that. Like, so I
No,
totally understand that.
100%.
Yeah. So
Yeah, the last 2 shows I waited in line for, oh my gosh. So, first, like, very last one was The Neighborhood,
mhm,
where I had seen that show the night before,
yeah,
and I really enjoyed it, but I'm like, "Why am
yeah,
I waiting all day in line when I saw this show last night?" And I know I like it, but, like, it's really not gonna enhance my experience that much. It actually kinda did, though, so I'm, like, kinda glad I did it at the end.
wow, wow.
But
It always
the
pays
other
off,
one
but
it it did, it was so fun. But then the one before that, I saw Tyler, the Creator in Greensboro, and that venue staff was the worst I had ever seen in my life. They had a horrible system of, like and I really wanted to wait in line all day for that because not only was it Tyler who, like, I had only seen at festivals, like, from really far away, but Blood Orange opened for him, and that's, like, one
mhm,
of my favorite artists of all time, so I, like, needed to be barricade. Venue staff was horrible. I ended up getting trampled. I almost pulled this girl by her ponytail. I cried, had a panic attack on the barricade. Someone told me that no one cares about me. Like, it was the worst experience ever. I'm like, all right, I'm about to be at the time I was like, I'm about to be 24. I can't be doing this anymore. Like
yeah,
my body can't handle it. I don't like well, I don't know. All of these kids are so young too and like really disrespectful. Like
yeah,
not that young kids are all disrespectful. That's not true at concerts, but like these kids were. And I'm just like, mm-mm, I'm not doing it anymore. I really
Yeah.
can't. For a show like that, I will pay the extra money if it means I get a seat, and
Yeah.
that's what I'll do. But
Yeah, we can't be, like, in our 20s, like, getting into, like, altercations with 16-year-olds anymore. Like, I used to be the 16-year-old, but not anymore. Like you just get to a
yeah,
point where you're
it
like,
was
"Alright." Uh,
at one point I just looked at this kid. I was just like, "You're mean. Like you're just really mean."
and I'm sure the kid was like,
Right?
"Who is this?" Like
Well, he had like trampled over like one of my friends. We had been waiting in line all day, and he literally like busted a girl out for the barricade spot. And I'm like, you were mean and disrespectful. Like, we waited in line all day, and you cut the line as soon as doors opened, and
Mhm.
you just elbowed a girl. And I'm just like, what is this? It gets even more wild the more I go. So I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm taking it easy. Mind, it's been easy to take it easy now because of COVID, but
Yeah. Yeah, now I'm like, Maybe I
I
am ready to,
miss
like,
I
throw
miss it.
elbows."
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly. We've had time to wait now.
Yeah, so I'm kinda
So,
ready. But so, I mean, okay, what was, like
mhm,
how did you get into this? Like, how did you get into, like, photography and just being a fan like this? Because I like to ask I mean, it's similar for a lot of my friends just because we're all in the same, like, genre, but
yeah,
because you have, like, kind of, like, a wider
mhm.
variety, like, I'd love to know, like, what got you into music. I know you're a Jonas Brothers fan, but
So oh my god. I may or may not have seen the Jonas Brothers like 11 times,
Oh my
but,
god.
um, I always just loved it's fine.
I didn't know it was
I
that
always, like,
many.
really oh, girl, yeah, 6th grade through, like I couldn't stop, I could not stop. But I
Wow.
have this best friend, her name's Tiffany, she's incredible, but her parents would drive us everywhere to go see them, and,
Wow.
like, we've been best friends since 6th grade because of that. Oh, I love him, I love her. It's yeah, we've never seen them apart, like, from each
Wow.
other. Yeah, crazy. But, no, I've always just I think I went to my first concert when I was, like, 7, and it was Hilary Duff,
Queen.
and I know, a queenry, but, I never remember, like, not wanting to go to concerts. I don't know, my mom also, when she was, like, my age now, she worked for a radio station, and she was a head banger. Like, she loved all kinds of music, and she introduced me to so much, so, like, if we were in the car, we were listening to music. My mom taught me so much just about like what she listened to, and like she's like met and like seen so many bands live. I think she's seen like Guns N' Roses like 12 times or like
Yeah.
something crazy. Like she actually just found her like ticket to her first ever concert at her parents' house the other day from 19 no, not her first ever one, but like when she was working at the radio station from 1991, and she
Wow.
has it in her phone case because it makes her happy to look at. Um
Oh my god, why is she
so
us? Like
I know. She is. I love her so much. But I've just always, like, loved music like that. So, like, going to shows and, like, seeing it live and experience it the way that, like, the artist really wants you to take it in has always just been so cool to me. Um, so but when it comes to, like, taking photos, that's actually really wild because a good friend of mine, like, found, like, a manual film camera one day, and then I happened to, like, go to a thrift store in South Carolina and found this like flip open 35 millimeter camera. Like it looks like a canister, and it like had a lens cap that like opened up with this big flash on it. And I thought it was a camcorder when I bought it, but it was only like $5. And then I saw that it took 35 millimeter film and was like, oh, I can mess around with this. Like I know where she gets her film developed and stuff. And I can back like when I was doing that, that was only like 3 or 4 years ago. But film was so much cheaper than it is now because it
yeah.
wasn't like super popular yet. So I could go to Walmart and get like 5 rolls of film for like $13. And so, and getting it developed was only like $10 a roll for 36 exposures. Now it's like almost 20, which is crazy
I
now. It's
know.
so much more
Yeah.
expensive to shoot film. But at the time I was just like, oh, whatever. So a week after I found that camera, I took a train to New York City, which was 12 hours, horrible, hated it so much.
Ugh.
I some guy pulled a knife out on me when we stopped in Philly.
Really
Not on
bad.
me, like, he wasn't threatening me, but he pulled it out like, "I'm gonna go see my ex-girlfriend," something crazy. I'm like, "I gotta get off this
Oh my
train." Like,
god. I'm
it
sorry you
was
had to
crazy, but I
experience that
was
in Philly.
it is what it is. But I was actually going for a similar reason that we're talking about. I was going because Brockhampton was playing in New York, and it was their first ever tour, and I already was gonna go see them, but it was more about meeting my friends from Twitter.
Mhm.
Um, so I was like, "Ugh, this train is like 150 bucks, like, who cares? I'm just gonna go, I can get there super cheap, I have a friend to stay with, like, I'll
Yeah.
get to meet all of my online friends," and I hadn't met Brockhampton yet, because my shows were after, so I was, like, really excited to meet them because I had, like, had a relationship with them for a minute, but, I was so nervous meeting my friends, and I was not nervous about meeting Brockhampton at all. Like, I met my friends and I was shaking,
Oh
but
my
then I met
god.
Brockhampton, I'm like, "Stop." But, yeah, so anyway, when I started taking photos, I had found that camera a week before I did that trip and got to,
Wow.
like, take portraits of Brockhampton, and they kinda went viral, and
Yes.
so after that, I was like, maybe I'm good at this. Like, cause other photographers were reaching out to me like, "What'd you shoot this on?" I'm like, "Honestly, this, like, point and shoot that I thrifted that I didn't even know how to really work that much," and they would be like, "Oh, I thought you were, like, a professional." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "This is the 3rd roll of film I've ever shot. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just, like, did it." So then after that, I was like, "Wait, this is really, really fun." So I just wanted to travel to shows and, like, any I could get to and just not only take pictures of, like, who's performing, but then take pictures of just, like, people in line that I meet and, like, my friends and, it's just so fun to me because it's, like, documenting a culture that, like, not a lot of people can really, like, experience unless they, like, decide to, like, wait in line and actually, like, do that themselves,
Yeah.
which a lot of people don't. So, like, especially, like, for, like, older people who look at my photos and, like, see all these kids with, like, tents and, like, waiting in line all day for a show and, like,
Yeah.
drinking, like, we waited in line for Brockhampton one time, and I literally had, like, a half gallon of Bojangles sweet tea when we were just, like, drinking it out of the bottle.
I miss Bojangles so much.
And I have pictures of that, and people are like, "These" Right? Yes.
Yeah.
If you haven't had Bojangles before, I'm so, 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 so sorry. It's
Yeah, me too.
life-changing. I miss it too, as if I hadn't just eaten it on Sunday. Oh, well. But yeah, so I just thought that was fun, and ever since then, like, I never really stopped, but as much as I love taking photos, I wish I did a little bit more, but, like, I'll never not bring a camera to a show with me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm always gonna bring my camera and, like, especially if I'm waiting in line, like, some of my favorite photos or even, like, one time I went to the show in San Diego, it was a Illegal Civilization show, and we got a free ride from LA to San Diego with these guys that I did not know. I was with my friend Alondra, and we didn't know how we were getting back to LA. So I was just sitting on the ground outside of a venue and Denzel Curry walks by and I'm like sitting on the ground smoking a cigarette and I'm like, "Oh shit, that's Denzel." So then I was like, "Hey, do you mind if I just like take a quick portrait of you?" And he's like, "No problem." And I'm like, literally, I didn't even stand up. I just
Yeah.
like took it from the ground and you can see my cigarette smoke in the photo. But like it's one of the hardest photos I have
It's so
ever
sick.
taken. Yeah, like I love that photo so much and it was like one of the easiest things I've taken. Like I literally was still just sitting on the ground like stressing about how I'm getting to LA, but like, oh cool, there's Denzel and like it was so fun.
I love that picture. Like, I forgot about it until you just mentioned it.
Right?
Like, okay, so name a couple
Uh
of, like, the artists that you've, like, shot just randomly, like, throughout the years.
Um,
I know you shot,
so
like
yeah, Denzel, Kevin Abstract, and like Brockhampton, Lil Yachty, Amine,
yeah.
Claro, mine. None of this is like they know who I am at all. It's just
Yeah,
like happening to like run into them or whatever.
but it's still so cool,
Um,
like, just,
yeah,
like,
Mikey
random
Offord from Illegal.
interactions.
Yeah, Mikey from Illegal Civ. Nico from Illegal Civ. I love that photo I have of him. And there are others that I like when I think back to like my time in LA, I regret so much. Like Wyatt and Fletcher from The Garden, like I could have shot them and I didn't ask them and I regret it all the time. Or like Austin Teeks from Slow Hollows.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I was standing right next to him and didn't ask for a portrait, and it's so easy, like, all you have to do
Yeah.
is be like, "Yo, like, I don't need a picture with you, but do you mind if I just take a cool portrait?"
Yeah.
Or whatever, and
They can literally
nobody
say
says
it.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but, like, it's so fun because you don't have to think too hard,
Mm,
and it's just, like, kinda hanging out and putting yourself in positions where, like, who knows, like, what's gonna turn out. It could be a really cool image. Oh, my photos of Nick Wenzini, from Holiday Brand are, like, some of my favorite portraits ever. I don't know, he's so photogenic,
yeah.
and, he's just so fun to take photos of. Um, but I love it. I
Yeah.
just love it. I miss it a lot. I miss shows because of, 1, taking photos, and 2, just, like, building those relationships with people
Mhm.
and feeling like, "Okay, I am good at this," and, like, not only am I, like, doing something that I would do if I didn't take photos, but I feel like I'm doing what I should be doing of just, like, taking as
Yeah.
many pictures as I can.
Well, and I love how
So,
you
yeah.
said that you were capturing, like, a community that a lot of people don't see because you're, like, capturing this, like, energy of friendship and being out at shows and just, like, the love for music, and that's really,
Yeah.
like, amazing, and it's just such an easy hobby to pick up, and I didn't realize that, like, that first, like, set of pictures that you took at Brockhampton were, like, some of your first pictures ever. Like, I mean, I think
Ever.
I remember us talking about that, but, like, that's just so crazy to me because
Mhm.
they literally did go viral. It was wild.
Yeah, I love those pictures so much.
Yeah.
But,
So,
yeah.
yeah, I guess we'll just do you have any more, like, fun concert or festival stories that you wanna tell? I feel like we should
Oh,
touch on
boy.
Lollapalooza a little bit just because that's
Oh,
where we met.
easy. Well, that lineup was just nuts.
Yeah.
Like, I will never, ever, ever forget that festival ever. Well, and the food was really good. You
Yeah.
ate like grilled cheese like every day.
It was so good. I mean, what
But
can I say?
it was like grilled cheese with chicken fingers in it. It
Mm,
was so good.
yeah.
I really liked what was it? I don't know. I should stop. But talking about food.
Sorry for making you hungry talking about Bojangles
Yeah.
and, like, grilled cheese. Like,
It's cool. But the lineup was crazy. I remember it's like Billy, who I'd never seen before. Um, and she played on like a small stage too, which is so
yeah.
crazy to think about now. Billy, Claro, Cuco. I remember seeing Basement, which is like this punk band that I really like. Licky Lee, who I had never seen before. Love
Queen.
her so much.
Queen.
Um, Tyler, of course. Brockhampton, of course. I remember seeing Uzi and being so disappointed. Like, you weren't there, you went
Yeah.
to go see somebody
Oh, but
else,
I've seen him before.
and I don't blame you at all.
Yeah.
I I was so disappointed with Uzi. I still love him, but, like, that was so disappointing. Um, who else?
Like, The
Greta Van
Weeknd.
Fleet.
Yeah, Greta Van Fleet. Let's
Oh, The
not.
Weeknd.
Yeah. The Weeknd,
No, let's
Travis
talk about The
Scott.
Weeknd for a second.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Travis, of course. Kali Uchis, Dua Lipa, like, oh my god, that
There were a
lineup,
million
like, even
people.
now,
Arctic
I
Monkeys.
would
Yeah,
I missed that because I went to go see Travis, but I don't
fair.
regret it at all because
Yeah,
I
no.
love Travis,
Yeah.
and that was, like, one of the most fun shows I've ever been to. But The Weeknd, let's just discuss that because
Yeah.
I still watch that live show on YouTube because they have the whole set up
Mhm.
and, like, get the same amount of chills
Yeah.
because well, Nick is my boyfriend for those listening, but Nick and I had planned on, like, going to see The Weeknd and then staying for the first half and then leaving to go see Zed because we hadn't been to any EDM sets,
Mm,
at all for the festival yet, and, like, Nick really wanted to see Zed because, like, I heard his live shows, especially to, like, end a night at the festival, I heard would be crazy.
yeah.
And then the weekend started and there was no leaving. Like, there
Yeah,
was no way.
not
I
at all.
truly think of all artists, like, I've seen Kanye, I've seen, like, Beyonce or even, like, Billy Joel or, like, people that, like, are known for, like, putting on really, really good shows, and I think The Weeknd, like, blew all of them out of the park, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I just think he's one of the best performers, and, like, people sleep on it.
yeah,
Like, at least his live shows, he's, like, one of the kings
yeah,
of pop,
yeah,
but
but his live show isn't talked about much. I mean, his tickets, like, at his
uh-uh.
own shows are so expensive, so I can understand that because I did go see him, like, on his own tour once, and it was, like, $150 for, like, a f not even a floor seat, and I was like, this better be worth it. And it was,
Oh,
but
I'll be paying. Oh, I will be paying
yeah.
it when because he's rescheduling this tour for I think like March and April of this upcoming year. Fingers crossed that can happen and it doesn't have to get canceled, but it's really doubtful. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know it's really doubtful, but
Yeah.
whenever he does tour again, I will be there,
Oh,
and
same.
I don't care how much it costs. It
Yeah.
is worth it.
Because it was like every bit of it, like the visuals, the stage setup, the transitions, the set list, like everything about it was like
And just him
perfect.
as a performer
Yeah,
too.
the energy.
Like his energy is crazy.
Yeah.
And like, his songs are slower and like you
Mhm.
wouldn't think that, but he does such a good job of like turning them into medleys or like I can't. I can't.
I wanted to
It's
witness
just
that
so
set
good.
again so bad. Like, that was the best
Watch it
set
on
by
YouTube,
far.
girl.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I do that with Banks all the time. Like, I watch Banks'
Love
set. Yeah.
her. I still haven't seen her live.
Oh, we're seeing
I
her
missed her
together.
last tour because I was broke.
Yeah.
I
It's
needed to work that day. I literally worked for someone else so that they could go to that show.
oh,
Yeah,
no, ma'am. No, ma'am.
I know.
Gotta be selfish
It
every
hurt
now and
me.
then, Allie.
I know, girl. I didn't have the money at the time, but
No, I
it
get it.
is what it is.
We will
I'm just
see
so
her
excited
together.
when concerts do start. I'm like able to go to whichever ones I want. Like
Yeah,
I will not have to like pick and choose. I will go to all of them. I
same.
don't care how much time I am taking off of work. Like I'm going.
Yeah, or money. I'm
But
like, I'm
yeah.
seeing every show possible when they actually come back because I need to
Mhm.
make up for lost time. But
Mhm.
yeah, and
Yeah,
like,
that's why we're saving our coin now.
yeah, I'm trying to think like who else was really good at Lala. I mean, Billy was good. I know you said like the sound wasn't very good from where you were.
Yeah, I
I was
couldn't
up
hear
front.
her too well. Yeah, you were in front, so you could hear. You
Yeah.
would like it was so funny because like me, Nick, and Ian would like sometimes like stand in the back. We'd all show up at the show together, and you'd just be like, "Yep, I'm going in.
Yeah.
Just stay here." And you literally get all the way up to the barricade and come back and be like, "It was awesome."
Yeah. Well, one of my friends was up there, and so, like, he and I were just like, "Oh, let's just see how far we can get." And we weren't, like, pushing into anyone, but, like, there's always, like, a little bit of space if you, like,
Oh yeah,
your way in. So we made it, like, pretty much to, like, the second row. I'm pretty sure I was on the barricade at one point because she probably came out into the crowd and everyone, like, panicked and ran all over, so there was enough room to,
yeah,
like, scooch in. But
yeah.
that set was really good. I mean, I saw her at the House of Blues at one of, like, the after shows, but it was, like, the day before the festival started, it was, like, Wednesday night, and that was amazing. I think I had more fun at that one just because it was, like, a smaller venue, and, I loved seeing them, so that was really nice, and,
Mhm.
yeah, who else was oh, well, Brockhampton was an adventure of a set. That was we could talk about that real
Dude.
quick.
So that's actually hilarious. So they had dropped those like few singles, the 1997, 1998, 1999
Yeah,
singles, like maybe a month before. They hadn't had any live shows since then, or
yeah,
like until Walla with those singles being released.
mhm,
So 1998 Truman is like in my top 3 favorite Brockhampton songs of all time. Like, even though that was a single, like
yeah.
I wanted to see that song live so bad. So like we waited, like we left Post Malone, waited for Greta Van Fleet to finish. And
Why did
I
we
had
leave
it was the
Post
first time I saw like
Malone?
older people in a Walla crowd.
Yeah,
I know, girl. Just to like get killed in the Brockhampton pit.
yeah.
But anyway, um so like Brockhampton's like about to go on, and I tell Nick, I'm like, whenever they play Truman, like I need to be on your shoulders because I want to see how they actually perform this song. And like I love that song so much. And so Nick's like, yeah, no problem. So then they come out, and those fans were nuts. Like I think it was one of the crazier Brockhampton pits I've ever been in. And I've been in some crazy Brockhampton pits. Like they can get brutal. Like I've had purple knees from
Yeah.
Brockhampton pits from like being on the edge of the stage because they weren't even like big enough to have a barricade yet. So like my knees are just like I'm getting pushed like into the stage where I'm practically like on stage with them. And that was crazy. But this was like nuts because dirt is just like flying through the air. Oh, it was nuts. But then they come out and they open with Truman, and I'm like yelling at Nick, like, get down, like I need on your shoulders. And it's the first song where the pit's like the craziest. And he literally stuck it out the entire song. I get off his shoulders and he's like hyperventilating because he can't breathe.
Yeah.
And then he tries to get out of the pit and someone tries to punch him. So he almost threw hands. I'm like, not worth it, not worth it, not worth it. And then we stood in the back and we were the only people in the back that knew their music. And
Yeah.
like I just remember like me, you, Ian, and Nick just like jumping around and people were looking at us like we were psychopaths, but like we're at a festival, who cares?
Yeah.
So
And it was so much more fun once we left the pit because that pit was, like,
so much
disgusting.
more.
It was
Oh,
so
it was horrible.
dusty, the people were, like, so sweaty, and, like, that's the energy that you want at festivals, but this was, like, too much. Like, it gets to a point where you're like, "No, no."
Well, it was almost like we all got separated because people were moshing almost like too much.
Yeah.
Like, and I just remember seeing like Ian's life flash before his eyes, just like getting thrown
I remember
around.
that.
He's like, "What are we doing?" And I'm like, "How do I even get out of here?"
No,
It
that
was
was, like, almost
nuts.
as bad as, like so Travis wasn't even on stage at Gov Ball, but when I was leaving, like, the barricade after Halsey's set, because I needed food and water, because I had been there for 8 hours, um,
Oh my god.
Travis's fans were, like, getting ready because he was about to get on, and,
Oh, they're crazy.
they're insane, and he wasn't even on stage, and there was, like, easily 25 minutes until he got on, and they wouldn't let me leave. I'm like, "I'm trying to make room so that you can get closer up, and you won't let me leave." Like, because they were so packed in like sardines, like, to the point where I literally
Mm.
could not
Could not
move.
move.
Yeah, my feet were
I
off the
would
ground.
cry.
My feet were off the ground, like, it was so
I
bad.
I would have cried.
Yeah,
Like, that's when I, like, lose it, because I can handle being in crowds, but once I'm trying to get out and nobody will let me or, like, I'm having too hard of a time, that's when I start to panic a little bit,
yeah.
but, like, I do it to myself, so I can only be
I
mad
was
at
gonna say,
me,
I
but
know I'll get out, I'm just like, "Move."
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my, that's wild.
I'm pretty sure I talked about that with Clay when he was on, like, that specific experience, like, trying to leave before Travis, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure I told them that I was gonna throw up," or I was like, "I'm gay, move," because he was like, "Travis fans are all straight, like, they'll move."
Yeah.
It was it was so
So, wanna
funny.
hear my most depressing festival experience?
Yes.
So, first festival I ever went to was Hangout Fest before I knew you in
Mhm.
Gulf Shores, Alabama, and yeah, well, the reason we chose that one was because Frank Ocean was playing,
Oh, he was
and
playing Hangout?
3 days before he canceled,
Yeah.
and then they replaced him with Phoenix, which I really like Phoenix, but, like, really, Phoenix?
Yeah,
Like,
like
like, come on, like, replace Frank? And I just remember being there like, "How am I supposed to enjoy this when Frank is not here?" Mind, I had a blast. Like, my friend Robin came with me, and we had so much fun together, and we actually went with, like, a group of 15 people, and
wow.
we got a hotel, like, less than a mile walk from the festival where it's just so easy because like, we could literally leave and come back, like, they would let you leave the festival and come back, like, at any point in time, so, like, if I got hungry and didn't wanna pay $15 for whatever, we could go back to our, like, condo place, and I could eat lunch and then go back and listen to music,
Yeah.
so that was nice, um, but yeah, Frank canceling. Oh, and then I accidentally took my fanny pack off in a porta potty and somebody stole it. So I lost my ID, all my money, my sunglasses, my phone charger, everything on day two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is not a pleasant experience. Like, losing
Oh no,
anything at a
girl.
festival is not good, but everything? You lost basically everything. Like,
Everything, literally everything. I would check because I think it was actually day one because there was like the pre-show party the night before, which we went to, and it was Migos, and it was so funny. My friend did a backflip in the middle of the pit, which was awesome. Um, but it was like actually day one of uh, a 4 day festival because it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
mhm.
That festival was really long. Um, and yeah, I would check lost and found every morning, and I'm like, "Why would they return it? There's $250 cash in there, like, of course somebody's
Mhm.
gonna keep it." Like, why just take the cash and give me the rest of my stuff back though, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, and Clay lost his
Like, that
phone.
was my ID.
Yeah. Did you lose your phone too, or just
Ooh. No, I had my phone.
okay, good. Yeah, because Clay lost his phone.
So
Well, his
that's
phone got
good.
stolen. I'm pretty sure someone
Oh
stole it.
my.
So that
That
wasn't fun.
sucks.
But that's
Poor
why, like,
Clay.
I either, like, have a fanny pack on at all times or, like, even if I have, like, a small backpack, I'll wear it on the front. It's not a cute look, but it
Oh, yeah.
makes
See,
sure everything's
you
safe.
would think I wouldn't take off a fanny pack because that's the whole point, is to not take it off, but I was slightly a little too intoxicated and just
Well,
took it off. So that that's another lesson in and of itself, is don't keep valuables on you and get that intoxicated
yeah.
and lose all your things.
Mm, yeah, not
It was
good.
my fault though. Lesson learned. I mean, what you gonna do?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Ugh. One thing I do not miss from concerts and shows is the stress of losing things.
No. Hey,
So,
remember that one time you decided to break in your Doc Martens?
yes, don't ever wear Doc Martens. Don't wear Doc Martens to a festival, but really don't wear brand new Doc
I was
Martens.
like, girl, you haven't even, yeah, I was like, you haven't even broken them in yet, and you're not gonna bring another pair of shoes. I know it's for the look, but like day one, you're gonna die.
The thing is, like, they're still not broken in. Like, they do not break in. Like, I'll wear them
You should
now
have
and
gone a
see.
size up.
Well, I don't even think that that's what it was. It was just like that the fabric is not like it's too sturdy. Like they like don't know
Yeah.
how to like break in. So I obviously that you learn lessons. You learn
Hmm.
lessons. I like hate talking about that weekend because I was in so much pain. So moving
We still
on.
had fun.
Yeah, we did. But moving on. I guess yeah, one last thing I want to ask you is how like which artists you would say you've developed like the best like experiences with or best like relationship with, because I think like you have a really good perspective on like fan artist relationships and how they can like kind
Mhm.
of sometimes the lines can be a little blurred, but like how you would
Mhm.
describe that and like artists that you would say you've had really good experiences with.
So, like, first one that comes to the top of my mind is definitely Kevin Abstract. He's just been so sweet and kind to me always. Like, I only really see him when they tour, or like if I went to LA, I'm sure I would see him. But like, just the most kind, like, if I need anything, or like if I want to go to a show and like last minute, I'm like, hey, like, I want to see you, and like, can you get me the like a pass or like +2 or whatever?
Mhm.
He's like, well, the only reason I even ask is because the first time I met him and he like gave me his number and everything, he's like, if you need anything, like any shows, anything, don't buy tickets, like just ask me, like text me at any point in time. And he's literally always come through. Like, never does he like, I don't know. I literally haven't paid for a Brockhampton show ever since I like really built a closer relationship with him, which is really fun. And like when we see him in bigger cities, like we don't have to be like in the pit. Like we can stand on the side and like a nicer section where I'm not like getting trampled or anything, and can see
Yeah.
the show like really nice. And like he's just so nice. So that relationship has been really great because I feel like I have got to see that whole like his whole like solo career like evolve into like Brockhampton, and then see Brockhampton take off and see where their career has evolved like
Yeah.
as a group. Um and to see how like Ian has changed like since then. Which has been like as an artist like so much for the better. Um but yeah, and then another I think about are like my buddies that live in Atlanta, Daniel Novello and Kenny Mason. Watching that, like they're my friends before I was a fan, whereas with Kevin Abstract, I was a fan before he was my friend.
Yeah.
But like I met Daniel at a Kevin Abstract solo show, like when Kevin Abstract toured solo for the one and only time after American Boyfriend came out.
Yeah.
Met him in line, and then we just like became buddies and like went to every like Brockhampton show together if they went to Atlanta. Like I was there, so me and Daniel could go together. And I met so many friends through him, and like Kenny was living with Daniel at the time, and like we became friends, and evolving from a friendship to like I'm a huge fan of what they do. Like,
Yeah,
they make such good music. Daniel just released a single yesterday, um, called Thunder, and it is fire. Like, his sound is so much different, and I'm just like, I had it on repeat for like 3 times. And then, of course, like, have you heard Angelica Hood Rap by Kenny yet?
yeah,
Yeah, I've
yeah,
played it for, yeah, it's so good. Um, and like just watching those careers like just kind of take off and like I don't know, Kenny like when I'm like literally was at their house when there were 4 guys like all sharing a 1-bedroom apartment, and meanwhile like anywhere we went Kenny's like just jotting down lines and like
yeah,
just jotting down lyrics and verses and anything that comes to his mind. Like he works so hard. Daniel works so hard too. Like he Daniel's one of those artists that's like never going to like sacrifice like his artistic vision for just like clout or like
yeah,
people seeing him. Like he is an artist first and foremost before he is like wanting to be a pop star. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Mhm.
Um, but like I've gotten to see so much of like what the industry is kind of actually like and how it's really not like rainbows and butterflies and roses. There's so
Yeah,
many other things that come into play for an artist that can really affect their like creativity. Like I think Brockhampton and Kevin Abstract is like the best example of that because like the industry like after they sign their deal, like watching like how much their creative vision changed after
mhm,
they signed. Um, it just changes a lot.
yeah,
And so the industry can be like, it's so beautiful and it's so great. Like it gives so many artists this platform to share like just beautiful work. But then it's not all rainbows and butterflies and roses and I don't know. But it's been really cool to like kind of see both sides or even like tours and like how much goes into that. I know you're really interested in that and like
yeah,
seeing like behind the scenes of how like tour organization and stuff like that can go, and how much is really put into like every little detail and like being able to see that behind the scenes is awesome. But
yeah. No, it's true, and even, like, the thing with the industry, I mean, yeah, especially studying it and then doing internships and, like, seeing people, like, everyday life, what it's like in that, and, like, talking to people who are in the industry and hearing things, like, it's not just, like, the artists, like, the people in it are not, like, always very nice, they're not always, like, in it for the right reasons, and
yep,
the artists who get involved, like, I've heard a lot of, like, good experiences with labels and teams, but I've heard a lot of bad ones. So it
right.
really is hard to, like, balance, and it makes me respect, artists even more than I already do, and it kind of makes
Mhm.
me a little less, like I think when I was younger, I felt a lot more, like, entitled to what an artist, like, owed me as a fan because I'm like,
Right.
"Oh, I'm, like, paying their bills." I mean, like and I wouldn't say this, but I see a
Mhm.
lot of people, like, still who say, like, stuff like, "Oh, well, I'm paying their bills, like, so, they should be doing this instead of this," or, like,
Mhm.
"Why aren't they touring in this city?" Like, things like that, like, they just feel like they're owed.
Yeah, as if like all of that is in the artist's hands or
Yeah,
control. Like
exactly.
sometimes I completely understand like why people think that way, but I think that it's completely skewed and wrong,
Yeah.
you know?
And
But
it's
like
just if
growing
you don't
into
get
that
it.
and
Yeah.
mhm, it's a lot. It's
Yeah.
so much. Like even people that I'm like close with in the industry, like they're my friends, like I know they love me and
Yeah.
like they don't have the time a lot of the times that I wish they did, you
Yeah.
know? Like it's been a lot more difficult for me to like find time to go to Atlanta, not because they don't care about me, but because there's a video shoot this week, they have to go to Tennessee to record another, whatever the next week or
Yeah.
all of this is like, there's so much that goes into it to where it's like, dude, this person actually loves me. Like, and like it's taxing. It's just
Yeah.
taxing.
Yeah, it's, like, emotionally exhausting, physically exhausting, like, I cannot even imagine. So, I think being in it, like, you can relate as well, I'm sure. Like, just being in it and seeing things from both perspectives, both sides of the barricade, haha, plugging.
Mhm.
But, like, you can see it and you really understand more, and sometimes I wish that artists were more, um, transparent about it because I think it would bring them a lot more, like, leniency from their fans, because I think
Right.
fans are like, why aren't you releasing this song? Like, they don't have any control over when things come out. Like, none. If
No,
you're
they really
listening to
don't.
this, like, artists have no control over it unless they're like huge and they're like, oh, I'm Ariana Grande, I'm Beyonce, I can drop things whenever I want. Like, then they might have
Or if you're
more,
not signed
but
at all.
yeah, or when you're not signed, because then you can put it
Yeah.
out. That's like, there's if you're signed and you're smaller or you're not like
And
at
you're
a superstar
growing, your
level,
label controls
yeah.
everything.
So
Like, not necessarily everything creative, but the label controls, like, when you tour, when you release, they have to, like, give you permission to even release certain things.
mhm,
It's crazy. I mean, it is, but it's not because they're the ones, like, helping the artist,
yeah,
like, and I get it and I don't, it's
yeah,
difficult.
me
I'm
too.
not an artist and I can't even, like, well, not an artist in the, music sense at all.
Yeah,
But I can't even imagine the pressures of all of that.
it's
Like, it's a
not.
lot.
I could talk about it forever. I will spare
I
everyone
know.
from my rants. But yeah, so I guess now we will talk about our current favorites. If you have current favorite songs, artists, albums, you can plug them now.
Ooh, boy, yeah. Chip Crumb and the Monotones is really good.
Yeah.
And I love Devil's Advocate. I think it's like an incredible song. It reminds me a lot of Foster the People, who's like one of my favorite bands
Oh, yeah.
ever, and it
Oh my
gives
god,
me
they
like so
it
many.
does. Yeah.
Right? With especially with the burn, burn, oh, so good. Um, Tom the Mailman, he's an artist out of Atlanta. I don't know him, but he's collabed with my friend Daniel on some stuff, and he just released a EP that I love. It's so good. It's a rap album. He has this one song called Hero that like I am obsessed with. Like I
I'll have to
scream sing it
listen.
in my
Yeah.
car. Um, who else? I really love Rico Nasty. Her iPhone remix that just came out was really good. And Dylan Brady produced it, of course. So why wouldn't I like it? Because me and 100 Gex have a great relationship. Um, what else? Daniel, of course, the song Thunder. So good. What else? Brockhampton actually released like informal release called with this project called Technical Difficulties. Like you can really only listen to it on SoundCloud or YouTube or something,
Mhm.
but I think it's some of the best stuff they've put out. Um, yeah, that's pretty much what I've mostly been listening to. Ooh, Miley, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Oh my
Midnight
god.
Sky is such a
Her
good song.
covers.
I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to her. The covers are so good. She's just such a talented artist. I'm really looking forward to seeing like the direction this album goes in. And when does it come out? In like late November, I think.
Yeah, I think late November.
Something like that. Oh my gosh,
I
I'm
feel like
so
November
excited. Just
13th. I don't
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But just like reading her like explanation of the album and like how it's evolved and like how she started it 2 years ago and like almost completely scrapped, she did pretty much completely. I'm just looking
Yeah.
forward to seeing like what that sounds like. Kid Cudi announced Man on the Moon 3. So
Aw.
that is like I literally almost started crying when I saw that. I freaked out. Like I need it now. I was telling Nick yesterday, I'm like, I like need it.
Yeah.
Like I haven't felt that way about a new project like in a long time, but I need it.
Yeah.
Like it's a necessity now that I know it exists. Um, but yeah, I change up what I listen to all the time. You actually help me a lot because your playlists are like really good.
Thank
So
you.
I find a lot of new stuff through you.
Oh my god.
Honestly, you and Ian are the reasons why I like fell back in love with Miley again. Because like
Really?
of course when I was little I loved her.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I kind of like wrote her off like not after bangers. Like I actually enjoyed actually yeah, after bangers. I enjoyed bangers, but like it wasn't my favorite ever. Like, but like, I don't know, there were some songs on that album that I really liked. But yeah, you and Ian like totally made me love her again.
Oh my god, love that. I felt
Mhm.
similarly though. Like I kind of like I that was when I started getting into like Tumblr music. And so like I kind of like forgot about Miley for a minute, but then like especially now with all the covers that she's been doing, I'm
Mhm.
like I'm loving this new era, but I'm
Mhm.
excited to hear it
Oh, I love Chloe Lilac, which I found through
too.
you, obviously. She's so good.
Chloe. Oh my god, I'll have to tell her you
Yes.
said that. She like I'm like she comes up in like
I
almost
really
every
like it.
episode, but she's a queen. That's why like she's so good.
Mhm. No,
Everyone
she's
she
so
was
talented. I can't wait to see where her career goes because she's got it.
yeah.
Like, the girl has got it.
Yeah, I think
Um,
so too, and, like,
yeah.
all the new music she's been, like, sending me, I'm like, "Oh, this is some next level, never been done before, this is some professional," it's just so good, like and
Yeah.
so I'm really excited to see where she goes, especially now, like, she's kind of gaining more, like, creative freedom, and I'm really happy about that because it's time. She hasn't had the control like we were saying, and so now she kinda does, and I'm really excited to see where that goes, and plus, like, Clay and I help
Me
her, so
too. Yes. Love Clay.
miss him. Um, so yeah, okay, so my favorites right now, my favorite
Yes.
song is "Sorted Out" by Coin. I'm literally obsessed with Coin's new
Yeah, I'm
EP.
sorry I haven't listened to Corn yet. Like, I
That's
told you
fine,
to.
but you should.
I will.
Like it's only 4 songs, and it's literally, like, probably one of my favorite things that's been released this year. So good, I love them. Indigo Violet is the EP title, but Sorted Out is my favorite song. And then my other
Mhm.
favorite, which randomly came up last night, Benny just released a song with Lily Allen and Flo Milli. It's called Plane, and it's, like, so good. I think I've listened, like, 25 times. It came out, like, last night, and I've listened on repeat, so definitely check
Oh
that
my
song out.
gosh. I
Um,
will.
and then another thing I love right now is the Destroy, 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 Destroy EP by Carly Hansen. It's just, destroy 4 times, but great
Yeah.
EP. All of Carly's hooks are, like, immaculate. Like, she has the best
Yeah.
choruses ever and, like, just knows how to put a good melody on a song, so love her, check her out. Other than that, let's put some social media plugs in right now. Allie, where can people find you on social media?
Instagram at Allie Wycoff with an extra F because apparently there's another one that exists that got the other handle. And same thing on Twitter. But yeah, yeah, Instagram I'm not I love it,
Yeah.
but I'm not super active. But I am going to be posting some more photos that I recently did a shoot that I'm actually really proud of. So,
Oh, yay, I can't wait to
you
see
can
it.
find that there. Yeah.
Everyone follow for her photography, she's amazing. Just go follow her.
And then other exciting things coming eventually, which hopefully
Yes.
within the next few
Oh,
months.
yes.
But
Yes, yes.
yay.
So, with all that being said, this has been another episode of Both Sides of the Barricade. We're at Both Sides of the Barricade on Instagram, at BSOTB Pod, acronym and then pod, on Twitter. And you can subscribe on YouTube at Both Sides of the Barricade. My Instagram and Twitter are JTaylorLDR. And this episode will be available on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. And you can follow, subscribe, like, download, rate, comment, all of that. Please leave me ratings. Please leave me comments. I love seeing them. They make me so happy. But all of that being said, thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Allie, for being on. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. I
This
hope
was
you
so
guys
fun.
enjoyed. And we will see you next week with our next artist. Can't wait for you guys to see it. Bye.